Ladies and gentlemen, America is in a hot civil conflict. It is raging, it is roaring, and it is not because of, legalized slavery like in the first Civil War. No. It's because of immigration. And it's because of the southern border, and it's because the federal government is consistently standing in the way of the states who are being attacked and destroyed by cartels and by these illegal immigrants. They're consistently standing in the way. And I'm telling you, if we don't get this under control, if the federal government does not get out of the way and allow the states to do their jobs, allow the states to enforce the law of the land, both federal and state, then guys, I think we might just get to the point where the states decide, you know what? I don't really want to be a part of this anymore. But let's get into the news. We got this story from the Post-Millennial. Breaking: Supreme Court extends block on Texas bill criminalizing illegal border crossings pending the order. On Monday, the Supreme Court extended a temporary block on Texas Senate Bill 4 legislation that would make crossing the border an arrestable offense. Conservative Justice Samuel Alito issued the order, marking the third time he has interjected to prevent the law from going into effect. According to NBC News, the law is now on hold pending further order. In a lower court ruling, Judge David Alan Ezra argued that the Supreme Clause and Supreme Court precedent affirm that states may not exercise immigration enforcement power except as authorized by the federal government, and that Senate Bill 4 conflicts with key provisions of federal immigration law to the detriment of the United States' foreign relations and treaty obligations. He went on to suggest that surges in immigration do not constitute an invasion. It is, whether he thinks it is or not, he can piss off, within the meaning of the Constitution, nor is Texas engaging in war by enforcing Senate Bill 4. Go ahead and go down and visit the border, Alito. Go ahead. Go down and visit the border. It's a freaking war zone, dude. Go down and look for yourself at all the people coming across. Go down and look for yourself at all the drugs coming across and the tens of thousands of Americans that are being killed every year by it. Go. You know what? You go and you tell Lake and Riley's family that this isn't a war. You go and freaking tell them it ain't a war. What about that 15-year-old girl up in Ohio that was raped by an illegal immigrant? You go tell her family. You go tell her that this isn't a war, you piece of garbage. Let's continue, man. To allow Texas to permanently supersede federal directives on the base of an invasion would amount to nullification of federal law and authority, a notion that is antithetical to the Constitution and has been unequivocally rejected by federal courts since the Civil War. Proponents of Senate Bill 4, including Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, have argued that the law should be viewed as complementary to federal legislation, as it should. Paxton said that the Constitution recognizes that Texas has the sovereign right to defend itself from violent transnational cartels that flood the state with fentanyl, weapons, and all manner of brutality, which he is correct. He is 100% correct. Now, Greg Abbott's response to this was, he posted on X, SCOTUS temporarily halted enforcement of Senate Bill 4, but Texas is still using its authority to arrest illegal immigrants for criminal trespass and other violations of law. We continue building the wall, using National Guard to erect razor wire barriers to repel migrants, and buoys remain in the river. And I want to show you guys some of this right here, this construction that is happening at the border wall. So they are consistently putting up new barriers at the border between Texas and Mexico. Guys, it needs to be enforced. The law needs to be enforced. Whether Biden wants it, whether Congress wants it, whether the Supreme Court wants it. Let me just tell you this. Biden doesn't listen to the Supreme Court. New York doesn't listen to this. New York was told by the Supreme Court that they need to allow people to conceal carry. their firearms outside of their homes. They didn't listen to the Supreme Court. They just made a new law against it and, went around what the Supreme Court wanted. So why in the mess should Texas, who is being devastated by this border crisis that Biden is responsible for, that the federal government is responsible for by not enforcing our immigration laws, why should we listen to you? Give us a good reason. Your authority means nothing now. You've given up your authority when you chose to do something against the American people that would get them killed. You bring in all these illegal immigrants, you bring in all these criminals, and they murder American citizens in the street. They sell fentanyl in our streets and kill our teenagers and our young adults here in America by the tens of thousands. But you're going to look at us and tell us, oh, you just have to sit there and take it. That's what they want. They want us to just sit there and take it. I can tell you this. The American people are getting fed up, man. We're getting fed up. And to all the lefties out there, I'm not talking to you. Your opinion doesn't matter to me, okay? To me, you're just chaff in the wind, okay? That's all your opinion is to me, okay? I couldn't care less what you have to say when it comes to this situation, because most of you just want America to fall anyways. So I could, to me, you're nothing more than an enemy of America. That's all you are. You might as well be communist China. Okay? So I care not for your opinion. But for the rest of us, we're just about done, bro. We're just about done. Texas right now is just about the only state, the only entity that is standing in the way of a complete invasion of America. And they're struggling, man. They're fighting the good fight, but they're struggling because the federal government continues to stand in their way. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we last 4 more years of this. I don't. I truly don't, guys. I think that if Biden is reelected and this is allowed to continue, I believe we will most likely be in some kind of civil war. Now, that might sound hyperbolic to you. It's not. The state of Texas is already putting the question on its ballot, on the ballot in November, of whether or not the Republic of Texas should reaffirm its state as a sovereign nation and become its own country again, and should secede from the United States. Personally, I think it should, but that's neither here nor there. Guys, secession and moving away from the United States is already on the minds of the Texas people. There's many other states that also have secessionist movements. And for all the idiots in the comments that are going to say, Texas can't legally do that. They'd have to go through Congress. Right, according to the law. But all we would have to say is, well, that's not our laws anymore. That's not our Congress anymore. That's not our president anymore. Oh, but the Supreme Court says you can't. That's not our Supreme Court anymore. It's that simple. And if you want to do something about it, raise your guns, boy. It's that simple, guys. If Texas doesn't want to be a part of this union anymore, what are you going to do about it? You going to start bombing? You going to start bombing Texans? That's what you're going to do? You seriously think the rest of the country is going to get along with that? I don't think so. But that's neither here nor there. Guys, we are in some kind of civil war. It's not quite hot yet. We're not shooting at each other yet. But guys, we're getting close. The federal government continues to stand in the way, continues to not enforce the law, and American citizens are dying by the tens of thousands because of it. The state of Texas is in the right. You want to know how you want to know how I know that they're in the right? Because what they're doing is backed up by federal law. It's backed up by federal law. They are literally reading the federal law. They're saying, okay, cool, we're going to enforce that. And the federal government is saying, what? No, you can't enforce the law. We have to enforce the law. Well, you're not doing it, so we'll do it for you. If we have to enforce the law for you to keep American citizens from being killed in the streets by fentanyl and by psychotic gang member, illegal criminals, illegal aliens, then we will. So they're continuing to put up border barriers. They're continuing to put up razor wire. They are continuing to put buoys in the Rio Grande River, and guys, the tensions just keep rising. Okay, the tensions just keep rising, and eventually the states are just gonna say, you know what, we don't care anymore. We don't care. We don't care what the federal government says. We don't care what the Supreme Court says. We're going to do what the law says. We're going to do what we know to be right, and we are going to defend ourselves from this invasion. Justice Alito, it is an invasion. This is my issue. I don't think Justice Alito has ever been to the border. If he was at the border, if he's gone to the border, then his opinion would change. But of course, he's a soft pixie who sits there in his robe and says, oh, that's not an invasion. Really? Okay. Just go look at some pictures on the internet of the insanity that we're seeing. Tens of thousands of people coming across all at once, just bum rushing our border. Many of them are armed. Many of them are violent criminals. Many of them are smuggling across drugs into America that will kill tens of thousands of American citizens. Look me in the face and tell me that's not a war. And me and you are going to have a problem. Guys, this is a major issue. For heaven's sakes, man. Dr. Phil went down to the border and had a conversation with the president of the Border Patrol Union, and the president of the Border Patrol Union outright admitted that Border Patrol is actively facilitating the sex trafficking of children from our southern border to sex rings in the United States. He admitted this. He said it is absolutely happening. And you expect us to just sit back and watch that happen? To children? You expect us to give a single piss about what you have to say when children are being sold into sex slavery under the federal government's dollar, which, by the way, is the American people's dollar? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Your tax dollars are being used to rape children. How do you feel about that? You okay with that? Yeah, the state of Texas is not okay with that. In fact, we're quite done with that. So we will continue to enforce the law. Greg Abbott, if you ever see this video, please, just don't listen to them. Enforce the law. Do what you know to be right. And if they have a problem with it, they can bring their guns. And we'll just settle it that way. Guys, this is insane. The federal government is wrong. Biden is wrong. The Supreme Court is wrong. It is blatantly obvious to anyone with a quarter of a brain what the Biden administration is doing. They want open borders. They want the border to be wide open where tens of thousands of illegal immigrants can come in at any time. And we know this because their so-called border security bill, which wasn't, literally codified and made legal 8,500 border crossings every day. It would have made that legal. It would have made it legal for them to bring in 8,500 illegal aliens every single day. It would have made that legal. So they want this to happen. They want these illegal aliens to be coming in. They want the drug addiction. They want fentanyl to be killing tens of thousands of Americans every year. They want the criminals to be beating Lake and Riley in the streets of Georgia. This is what they want. And it is blatantly obvious. So when the Supreme Court looks at us Texans, I live in North Texas, okay? When the Supreme Court looks at us Texans and tells us, no, you can't enforce that law, we will look back at you and we will say, you can piss right off. Your opinion means nothing when you are not down here in the thick of it with us. When you're consistently standing in the way of children being kept out of sex slavery. When you stand in the way of Texas National Guard stopping this invasion, protecting American people, and keeping kids out of prostitution rings that the Border Patrol is actively facilitating them into, you expect us to care what you have to say? I don't think so, man. Greg Abbott, if you ever watch this video, continue to do what is right. Continue to enforce the law. And tell the federal government to go piss off. As a parent, as a father, I look at what is happening at our southern border to those children. And I say, yeah, the federal government doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They might think that they matter. They don't. They don't. When the federal government is actively facilitating the sex trafficking of children, we should tell them to piss off. We should tell them to get out, and we should put a gun in their face if they don't. I'm sorry. They're actively facilitating the sex trafficking of kids. They all deserve to be beneath a prison. Every single one of them. All of the agents that are facilitating it, everyone involved. Dissolve the entire agency, as far as I'm concerned. Then, anyone up in Washington that is involved in any way, you put them in a prison. And then whenever they've been found guilty, you execute them. Yes, you execute them. We should not waste our tax dollars keeping someone alive who facilitated the sex trafficking of kids. They're a waste of carbon. That's what they are. You harm this you got to understand, this is how I've always been. You harm kids, you deserve to die. It's that simple. Every single one of these people that is involved in the sex trafficking of children at our southern border deserves to at least spend the rest of their life in a prison cell. Now, I think that doesn't go far enough, like I just said, but they at least deserve to spend the rest of their life in prison. Guys, the Supreme Court is out of line. They're out of line. It's very simple. And Texas should continue to simply enforce the law, tell the Supreme Court to piss off, tell the Biden administration to piss off, tell the federal government that they can kick rocks. We're done. We're done. I don't know, man. I don't know what the future is going to hold. But ultimately, the state of Texas has to do what it has to do to protect its people and to defend itself from the psychosis that is happening because of the Biden administration refuses to enforce the law. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I hope that I hope Texas stays strong, and I hope that, hey, maybe Donald Trump will get elected in November, and we can finally start to get some border enforcement at the southern border and the northern border. I mean, people are flying over into Canada and coming down into the northern border. I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm going to leave it there. I'll have another video coming for you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, share this show with your friends, and follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.